distinguished seniors, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, happy to be here. Thank you, ORF, and thank G20 for the opportunity for this special address. At the outset, I would like to join my previous speakers in thanking ORF and congratulating for a very successful pull-off of the Raisina 2023, an outstanding organization. I was there both the days. Now, about my speech, we've recently just heard Ambassador Sujan Chinoy saying that we should move from thought to action. And unless we do that, we'll not get our food. So I'll give you a flavor of action within G20. We heard this morning G20 Sherpas speaking about digital transformation as one of our G20 presidency priorities. And we see by its sheer omnipresence and the progress that we've achieved, it has become an issue which runs across all the 13 working groups and about 11 engagement groups under G20 during our presidency. I'll give you a little bit of details in the realm of two engagement groups, Business 20 and Startup 20, which I look after apart from other things in the G20 Secretariat as my role as Joint Secretary. While B20, Business 20 is one of the most established and very high profile engagement groups, Startup 20 is the one which we have launched and established during India's presidency. It's a nascent group. And both of them are big stakeholders in digital transformation and taking our presidency's priorities ahead through different stakeholders, through businesses, industries, academia, and others, apart from the working group, which is government to government. Friends, the significance of data is increasing rapidly and as an economic and strategic resource, and it is further strengthened by the pandemic. We've seen digitalization transforms the process of production and trade and generates unparalleled growth opportunities through advanced efficiency and innovation. We've heard last 2 days high efficiency, high productivity, and high prosperity. So the dominance of digital platforms on all stages of operation in the value chain has been gaining traction. Through data augments new opportunities, though data augments new opportunities for addressing developmental challenges and wealth creation, it also intensifies several potential concerns related to the flow of data across borders, data privacy, cybersecurity, market concentration, so on and so forth. In this context, we see these and few other important issues like bridging the digital divide, which is enhancing internet access equitably across all regions and communities, and digital literacy, universal connectivity, network expansion, etc., and importantly, building digital trust. During our presidency, B20 is striving to bring this discourse through following ways. While the organizations are finding innovative ways and new business models to bring digital services to more people and growing the digital ecosystem. As the most important 20 economies, the B20 economies must work towards the identification of actions for businesses and governments to increase equitable access to technology and technology-based services in order to bridge the digital divide. This also requires acceleration in efforts to ensure sustainable and fair financing avenues for MSMEs to adopt the digital technologies available at their disposal. So B20 will work towards the identification of solutions to provide greater support and protection for newer participants in the game with new business models and innovations. In its next priority, which is to promote internet penetration and enhance digital literacy, we see the world is heading towards a hyper-concentrated future with people and businesses closer to each other than ever. At the same time, we see that more than half of the world people still lack access to internet. As per UNCTAD's Digital Economy Report 2021, which came last year, the use of internet in developed economies constitute 90%, while in the LDCs, least developed countries, 23% of the population still doesn't have access to a mobile broadband network. So within this presidency, B20 would work towards finding innovative ways and new business models to bring internet to more people, making internet accessible and more equitable across countries, and growing the internet ecosystem. Also, going further, recognizing that access to digital technologies is insufficient to translate into growth by itself. It is essential to collaborate and work towards enhancing digital skills. Therefore, advocating towards accelerating investments for development of digital skills and innovation to support the transition to a truly data-driven ecosystem and build technical skills is what we are advocating. Also, using the feedback from India's Voice of the Global South Summit, we are using all the feedback which we got from our fellow developing countries to put forth before the G20 countries and through B20 mechanism. The next priority is to deliberate on harmonization of regulations, standards, and accountability principles cross-border in order to foster interoperability, stricter and clearer rules for data ownership and sovereignty, and common grounds for technology. In its last major priority would be building sustainable digital technologies and digital infrastructure. Joint public-private sector involvement stimulate R&D in new technologies like artificial intelligence, big data, quantum computing, etc. Focused on integration of 5G to Internet of Things and building sustainable technologies such as green software, green cloud, green AI, green user experience, all of that. Now I'll move to this other engagement group called Startup 20. As I said, this is an engagement group which is constituted during our presidency, and it comes from the priority set at the very top. You are aware how our Prime Minister and downline is involved in the startup ecosystem in this country, and that has led to several milestones achieved already. So we see not only in India, but the startup ecosystems are maturing in all parts of the world, providing pathways for geographic decentralization of businesses and distribution of enterprise for inclusive economic development, with creative founders, their competent startup teams, solving a range of problems from food security to climate change to space technology to agriculture. Friends, as we experienced during the pandemic, all these startups have completely changed our world. It was not only a health crisis, but an economic, social, and cultural crisis. And in response, startups contributed towards vaccine development. You must be aware that Moderna, as we've heard, was a startup actually. So its storage, delivery, tracking, supply chain, all of this was done by startups. Many sectors like education, e-commerce leveraged startup innovation and scale up massively. When everyone was locked inside their homes, it was virtual technology that helped maintain the social balance. Startup through technology and digital platforms made work from home feasible for businesses and kept the world going. World over, startups are being perceived as optimal solution that balance the need for a rapid response to solving global issues while meeting the requirements of job creation, climate change, human empowerment at the local level. It is a need of the hour for new age startups to leverage global industry connects, venture capital, high impact mentorship to deliver niche and differentiated solutions. To harness their full potential, startup would be provided with a harmonized global ecosystem that helps them pilot solutions in low cost markets, which fail fast, learn, find market, fit, and scale further is the mantra. So this engagement group towards the end of our presidency will aim to achieve exchange of knowledge and best practices among G20 nations. For example, in India, we have something to share. We have been curating and enabling startup ecosystem by creating an accessible, free public digital infrastructure. You'll hear about that more later through the panelists, over which private innovations have taken place. This is through initiatives like ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce, UPI, which are also leading to financial inclusion across the country. In addition, favorable legislation towards FDI into startups, government-aided incubation and innovation centers, statewide startup policies, taxation benefits have been introduced. As a result of our efforts, government's efforts, India is the third largest startup ecosystem in the world, with 84,000 startups creating more than 1 million jobs, not only across e-commerce, education, finance, and healthcare, but also in the areas of space technology, agriculture, climate change, alternative fuels, electric vehicles, etc. In agriculture in particular, Indian agri-tech startups are looking to address food security by innovating on production and supply of millets, while we are celebrating International Year of Millet, in a climate resilient, sustainable, and affordable way, and creating as a superfood. Friends, During our presidency, through various task forces, the Startup 20 Engagement Group will focus on most relevant priorities areas that will benefit startups, including creating the right platform, access to capital, promoting inclusion, and aligning with UN SDGs. We aspire to create a coherent global narrative for supporting startup, enabling synergy between various ecosystem stakeholders, including governments, corporates, investors, innovation agencies, and individuals. So this engagement group will strive to develop an inclusive framework that supports innovative ecosystem, supports strategic collaboration across G20 nations, and later will also reach out to fellow developing countries with whatever we achieve through this engagement group towards the end of our presidency. Thank you very much. I wish good luck for the rest of the session, and I'll be very attentive listening to rest of the speakers. Thank you.